This is round two. And you know what? Why not? I have a little bit of time, so let's try it. Like I said, this, as the title pretty much says it, this shit's a little naughty. Why not, right? So, alright guys. Hi, I'm Liz. I am the head of Teal Lizard Designs, a little group that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make a sewing circle, and because there isn't one anywhere where I live, so I might as well just reach out online. And right now I am trying to work on the headband that I started. So any videos that you have seen of me previously, this is the same project. I normally am a lot faster than this, but life kind of happens to get in the way. And that's why I'm doing this sewing circle. So, anyone who is interested in viewing, anyone who's interested in chatting, let's chat, let's knit. Like I said, this shit is naughty. It's kind of funny. I'm just trying to make sure everything, I'm kind of streaming at the same time right now. I'm on YouTube Live and I'm also on Twitch. I'm doing everything and I'm giving credit to Prisma Live Studio. That's my, they call it encoder. So that's what I'm doing. And I have right now, kind of things going on in a chat room right now, so I'll be kind of flipping back and forth between YouTube and I'll be flipping back and forth between Twitch. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like kind of being on this type of live is very different for me. Vlogger, I'm terrified, not gonna lie. I guess this is kind of like my journey through knitting. And so seriously, anyone who's out there, anyone who just wants to drop a hello, please drop a hello. I'm probably going to see if I have both the YouTube page up, and I also have my Twitch page up. So I guess with a handy dandy cup of coffee, here we go. Seriously, ask me anything. Just drop by and say hi. And if you're wondering what I am listening to right now, it's Bluey. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's Bluey. It's the cricket music. Yeah, it's cricket. And it was actually one of my favorite episodes of Bluey so far that I've ever seen. So, with that being said, I don't know if I ever could like learn how to do cricket or even follow it. It looks a lot of fun, but everyone goes crazy for it. I might as well learn it. I will never be able to play it, but I'll watch it and be like, okay, let's do it. Why not? So right now, what I am working on is I am doing a headband. I had cast it on, I think I lost count after 50. No, 75. I think I cast it on 75 because I want to make sure that when it stretches, it's going to stretch all the way around, especially around the ears, to kind of pull it back. So it's going to be a nice circumference. I did it larger than my head because, number one, it's not for me. And I also want to be able to twist it and give it a cute little knot. If I can give it a little bunch, I want to be able to do that. The stitches that I'm using are knitting and purling. So I'm doing 5 rows right now, 5 rows of knitting, and I was going to do 5 rows of purling, but I realized the stitch of what I wanted wasn't going to come out the way how I wanted it. So I'm going to kind of give you a nice little close-up right now. So if you see, I have 5 knitted, and right here is where I start purling, and I'm doing the opposite of the chain. There's a saying in knitting where it's you knit your knits and you purl your pearls, or it's like that's for certain types of cables that we will get into later. I will start showing those. Those are, you want to talk about fun and extensive work, cables are fine, but they hurt my hands all the time. But pretty much what I'm doing right now is I knitted 5 rows straight. So this is my basic knit stitch, simple classic knit stitch. I did a purl row, and now I'm doing a knitting row. So I'm kind of doing the opposite of what I'm supposed to do. And what it's doing is on this side, it's building another, on this side it's doing another knit stitch. But on the side where I want it to show, it's giving that really pretty clean, it's like a clean purl stitch. That's what it's doing. And it's coming out quite nicely, and that's what I want. So the pattern that I had in my head is completely and utterly changed now. Just don't mind me. I'm just kind of flipping over to YouTube to see if anyone had left a comment on the chat. So don't mind me at all. I'm trying to knit and watch you guys at the same time. So it's a little fun. I knit differently than a lot of other people do. Like, I learned a long time ago how to knit, and I learned, I think I spoke about it on a previous video. I learned how to knit because I love that movie Chicken Run. It was like one of the characters there, she's this plump little chicken, and all she does is knit. And I remember being like, that is the coolest thing in the universe, and what is she doing? I want to see this. And that's kind of how it started, and I think I did the same thing. You know, again, shout out to Donna, who taught me how to knit. Shout out to Susan, who taught me how to crochet correctly, because I was mixing knitting and crocheting at the same time. Because I didn't understand what I was doing. Did not understand what I was doing. Shout out to all of the little sewing circles I used to go to back in the day. Now I don't. Now there's like hardly any sewing circles. Like maybe once in a while, like I'll find something on Facebook, but it's not the same. It honestly really isn't the same. So sorry, don't mind me just flipping back to a Twitch live stream. That's what's really cool about Prisma Live Studio. It lets me see what's going on. So like if someone had messaged me on YouTube, or someone messaged me on Twitch, I actually can see it because I can stream at the same time to both of them, which I think is actually really, really neat. The quality, I'm not going to be 100% sure, but we're going to, you know, like I said, it's my first time being a vlogger. And I was told, hey, maybe you can start teaching how to knit. And other people who, you know, would like to see it. And you're very bubbly, and that's what they tell me. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm terrified. Horrified, terrified. I don't know, something about a daytime live. I'm kind of like, oh my god, what am I doing? What am I doing? No one's going to watch this. But if you happen to do, and you are on right now, please go right on ahead and say hi. Say hi. Just say hi. Even if you just drop a like, anything like that, go right on ahead. So pretty much right now the pattern that I'm doing is five rows. 5 rows of knitting. 5 rows of knitting, and then I'm going to do 5 rows of the purl, knit, and purl. So when I end on my purl and I go into knitting, it's going to be a nice clean cut. And then it starts the knitting process again, where I get the, you know, the basic knit stitch. So, you know, that's, in my head it was supposed to be 5 rows of knitting and 5 rows of purling. This was going to be, you know, fun, and, you know, I'll get that ribbing that I was looking for, and it'll be all set, all fun and games, things like that. You know, it'll actually come out looking really pretty, and then I started doing it, and I'm like, oh my god, that is not how it's going to come out. It's going to come out looking weird. It's going to be like 2 different stitches. It's going to be like 2 different types of knit stitches to get 2 different types of stitches together, and I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for that, that weird bubble look. What I want is a beveled look, and that's, beveling is straight up, and they use that in architecture too, which is pretty cool. I don't know if anyone is on here who does a lot of architecture, a lot of work with computer graphics. There is a tool we used to use called the beveling tool, which is really great if you're making buildings. And it's literally you're like building it and then you kind of do a cut out real quick and then you pull it back out and you bevel it higher. So you just kind of lift it. It's really neat. Fun little side note, I wanted to be in computer graphics and I actually wanted to do, wanted to work on backgrounds. Yeah, I wanted to work on landscapes and things like that. It is kind of funny because I'm not a really good landscape artist. Like I'm good at basics of the landscape and, working with perspective. I'm okay with that. It depends upon where it is. If it's a cityscape, I'm not that great. If it's an actual landscape, I'm decent. But if it works with where was I going with this? I told you I'm a little bit of a flake right now. I told you I'm nervous. I'm nervous as hell. It's my first sewing circle that, as of right now, no one's really attending, but that's okay. Someone will see the videos and someone will be like, oh hey, I kind of want to try this. But if anyone does or has in the past done anything like this, when it comes to not only knitting but working with computer graphics and design, it's pretty neat. When I was younger, there were a lot of there were a lot of games and things like that, especially video games and stuff like that. We learned on a software called Lightwave. And Lightwave was from what I understood, it's fine. It's it's a great introduction to animation, 3D animation. Pixar had developed it. It was it was kind of one of those softwares. And because I remember everything was Apple. Everything in college was the Apple. You were in the art world, you needed an Apple computer. I was all PC because it was just easier, it was more affordable. But I remember getting a copy of Lightwave, downloading it, working on my projects, and just doing it on the PC because, computer's computer, whatever. Rendering took 60 hours. Oh my god, I remember they used to shut down the computer lab. 60, I remember the one just for texture, for rendering, and that was my introduction to it. I remember being I could do this, this is cool. Okay, so I do it, and I get my light source and everything, I build my world, and I just get to, sit around and then start working on the next scene. That's pretty cool. I'm okay with that. But yeah, I remember the computer labs used to be shut down over the weekend and be okay, and you can come in, they would leave it open for Saturday and Sunday for the students to come in to make sure nothing happened. If you were at your computer, you wrote your name on it, what project you were working at, what time you started, and sometimes it would shut off, it'd be oh, error at this time, and you're oh crap, so you have to start over. It was kind of neat. Honestly, it was really, really neat. I loved it. I built an entire underworld. I love that. I wish I kind of went back into that. If I ever get the chance, maybe, but I'm a little too old. But you know what I'm not too old for? Knitting. I'm not too old for knitting or creating art. And I tell people that too. I'm anyone can learn how to knit. It's kind of like cooking. Anyone can learn how to cook. Anyone can learn how. Anyone can learn how to knit. Anyone can learn how to crochet. Okay, so here we are right now. I just kind of want to show you guys. And I'm kind of popping right back over to Twitch real quick. Just kind of looking to make sure no one had messaged me or anything like that. Or if anyone had any questions. So here we are right now. I just finished it. I literally just landed on the knit stitch. So do you see how that is coming out? where here I am, my 5 knitting, and then I did purl, I did knit. So this one right now, I'm going to go into purling. It's going to continue on that smooth, I call it a bevel, line, bevel type of thing. And it's going to give that stripe that I'm looking for. And I didn't even tell you what size needles. These needles that I'm working with, they're actually they've become one of my favorites. I have a pair that I've used for years. I've used them so much that like they bend. Like the one is bent from me using it so much. And I'm like, whoopsie. The size knitting needle that I have right now is a 10.5 US. And I personally like it. I mean, like, look. I saw it. There's other ones where they glow in the dark. They have crochet hooks that glow in the dark. And this was at Michael's. And I got this for like, I think maybe like $4 or $5. They're plastic. They're really, really pretty. You know, like I love it. I fell in love with the colors. I was like, oh my god, look, it's blue. And it's purple. They're my favorite. So yeah, it's pretty neat. Pretty neat, pretty neat, pretty neat. So, you know, uh-oh. What did I do? What happened? Oh no, what happened? I love it. I'm just kind of looking right now to see what's happening. What's going on and what's happening. Don't mind me. So, but anyway, those of you who are just kind of chilling out, I always, you know, or who are peeking in and listening, you know, stopping by, I just always appreciate it. I told you this shit's kind of naughty. Huh, I didn't really think about it that way. And I'm also listening to Bluey. Anyone else a major Bluey fan? I was like, wait, what? What is this cartoon? And I've always been a lover of animation. So, I guess, shoot, might as well just tell you guys right now. My favorite animated movie is, actually animation-wise, when it comes to, just straight up pure animation, no 3D, nothing like that. No 3D, no CGI, anything like that. It's just straight animation. Believe it or not, is Sleeping Beauty. I think because it doesn't have anything. It's just straight animation. Everything is all drawn by hand. Sleeping Beauty. So that's my favorite when it comes to hand-drawn animation. Snow White's up there too. My favorite animated movie where it's a blend between 3D animation and 2D animation, and it's actually one of my favorite books that I've ever read, is Treasure Planet. Disney's Treasure Planet. That's my favorite mix of 3D animation and 2D animation. I think it blends with it perfectly. My favorite book is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. So when that came out, I was like, God, it was 2002. I was like, I wasn't even in high school. Yeah, I was like, wasn't in high school yet. It's like pretty cool. But my favorite, or again, my favorite animated movie, period, is Lilo and Stitch. I love that. I love it. I love it. And now there's gonna be a live action. I just saw like the trailer. I just saw like the new oh, how are you gonna call it? Like the, you know, like what they pop Stitch out to look like. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, it's cute. It's cute. It's cute for something that's gonna be 3D and it's gonna be like direct to video. I'm like, yeah, it's cute. I'll take it. I like the fact, as of right now, that we know that Chris Sanders is coming back to voice Stitch. As far as I'm aware of, Billy Munson is doing Pleakley and Zach Galifianakis is doing Jumba, which I'm like, I can absolutely see it. Absolutely see it, and I'm down with it. Um, the newer crews that are coming out, the new like cast of characters coming out. I like they're bringing back Tia Carrere. I like they're bringing her back, and I think it's Amy Hill. I want to say she played Mrs. Hasegawa. Mrs. Hasegawa. I'm like, okay, alright. So, like I said, if you guys just want to go ahead and like chit chat or anything like that, like I said, I love animation. I love all that. I like remakes. I don't mind them. What I would absolutely love would be a Treasure Planet remake. If Disney's ever going to do something when it comes to like mixing 3D and live action, I think that's the media for it. It's a classic story. It's an absolute classic story, and I think it needs to be done. Someone had did a trailer, like a teaser trailer, for Atlantis: The Lost Empire. And you want to talk about a different type of animation style? I love that animation. I love that animation. That's like, it's a completely different style. So, I want to show you right now, while I have you guys here, and you're seeing the progress of it in real time, besides the dog hair that's on it. Dogs weren't even in my room and there's dog hair. So, see how this is coming out now? You can see it a lot more clearer. It's definitely nicer. Definitely nicer. And this yarn, I didn't even tell it. Again, like, I feel so funny. I'm not even, like, saying it. I guess because I'm just so nervous. Now everything's coming to me, and I really should be saying this at the beginning. So, the yarn that I'm using is Red Heart. Big Red Heart, that's a great yarn. It was it's called Papaya. So it's a pink, and it has glitter mixed in it. It's a very, very, very pretty yarn. I've crocheted a beautiful waffle stitch, is what they call it. And you want to talk about like beveling? The best way to say, if you're an architect, coffering. It looks like a waffle. It's a straight long scarf. It's big and it's bulky. I would have done it with 2 strands, with double strands, especially if, we're living in a more colder climate for the fall and for the winter, definitely. But since where I'm at, it's a lot more warmer and don't need it that much. It's definitely going to be for decoration. It's a really pretty, it looks just like a waffle. We call it the waffle stitch. And I was watching YouTube. Fell in love with it. And it came out really pretty. So, that's something else. I have another really pretty stitch that I go to. It's funny, I'm just kind of talking out to the void. If anyone else has a favorite stitch that you like, if you are doing it, go right ahead and tell me. Seriously, tell me which stitch that you like. Oh, I see that someone actually kind of popped on. Hi! Welcome. So, if anyone has a favorite stitch that they like. Ooh! Okay, see, so this is kind of what happens when you kind of go a little too far, do a little too crazy. It is going to loop off. But if you're able to kind of get that back on and you pull the string, that string's going to tell you exactly where it is. If you need to say, like, you have to, like, do another loop over it, that's okay. That happens all the time in knitting. I'm always losing. What they call it, slip stitch. I'm always slipping it. And also, that's another technique as well. Again, we're going to be doing it together. But that happens all the time, and all you really gotta do is just put it back on, literally just take it, put it back on, and just work it in. And I say this, homemade projects are never supposed to look perfect. They're not. A homemade gift is not supposed to be perfect. A homemade gift with its imperfections means you worked and you worked your hardest, and that's just what it is. You know, you work your hardest for it, and you know what? That's okay. Imperfections are beautiful. There's beauty in every imperfection. Homemade gifts should never be perfect because homemade gifts should be made with love. And if there's a mistake, well, you know what? It just means it was not done by machine and it was done by hand. And I think that's a lot more value. And, hey, it's your calling card. As I say, it's your motif. So, but yeah, you know, that's just what it is. Look at me, I'm already spilling my coffee. It's actually really gorgeous outside. As this, like, all this lighting, it's all natural light. This is all sunlight. It's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. So right now I'm finishing up purling this row. So I started when I wanted to do the net, when I wanted to make the stripe with I did, my last row was knitting, then I started it at purling, and I went to counter it with knitting, and then I would counter it with purling. So that's why I'm getting a nice clean line like this, because this is the front of what I want to show. This is what the back looks like, what's going to be hidden behind the headband. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just kind of sitting here chilling out and knitting for a little bit until it's time for me to go. But it's nice to see that, like, you know, I'm just making progress. I have been it's like when I was younger, I used to knit all the time. I used to crochet all the time, knit all the time. I'd be watching movies and knitting. I guess maybe I could pose this question out to anyone else who's a crafter or anyone else who just likes to craft themselves. If you're doing something like with your hands, what's your favorite movie to watch too? Like, what's your favorite movie for like background noise? All right. Mine, if I'm in a knitting mood, is going to be either a Disney animation or it's going to be Harry Potter. I could sit and knit to Harry Potter all day long. Okay, so here we go. I think I'm on number 4. We're on row number 4 of the stripe. So, just want to stretch this out a little bit just so that you can see. So when I ended it with purling. So so I have my string in the front, so you can see that. I have my string in the front. Now, when I'm going to be switching over, I want to do knitting to keep that string in the back. And that's how you know if you're either on a purling stitch or a knitting stitch. Just a heads up. So right now, I want to continue on. It's like, or do I want to, if I do that, yeah, no, I want to knit one more time, and then I'm going to go on, instead of me purling the next row, I'm going to go right to knitting. So we did, actually I can tell you right now how many we did. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going on number 5. We're going on row number 5. Number 5, we're going to finish with knitting. So number 5, we finish with knitting. Then we're going to continue on to knit to get back to this ribbed look, and we're going to do that for another 5 rows. And then we're going to do another stripe. Realistically, I want to do 3 stripes. If I can do 4, that's great. But I'm making a headband. So I also have to make sure, like I'm making like a headband, ear muff type of thing. So I want to encompass it. So I want to encompass the ears. I want to make sure it's like, good. But I also want it to be sturdy. So if I can do, it may only be 2. It depends. But also you won't want to take into account, well, if I'm going to be washing this, is it going to shrink? So maybe I want to go for that 3rd stripe. And again, this is my first headband. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to look clean and cut. It's just is what it is. It's my first headband. Doing it in knitting style. I personally think maybe I should have done it as a crochet, but you know what? You live and you learn. So what I'm going to do is I am going to knit this and continue on. Gonna knit it, and then I'm going to knit another 5 rows, and then I'm going to start that over again, that stripe over again with the purl knit, purl knit. Yeah, if you guys have any questions like what I can answer, please go right on ahead. Ask me away. It could be anything. I may pose this to you guys, anyone who's watching this later on. Especially on my YouTube channel, because I'm recording Twitch and YouTube at the same time. If you guys have any questions like that, I'm going to pose it to you. What's your favorite movie to craft to do busy work to, if you're cleaning? Again, it's any type of Disney movie, and also any type of, like, or the Harry Potter movies. I can knit to Lord of the Rings. I can knit to Harry Potter. I can knit to Game of Thrones. I actually made, I crocheted a blanket in a blizzard watching Game of Thrones for 3 days. I made it Afghan. It was actually really cool. And I did the seashell stitch. Say that 5 times fast. The seashell stitch. I may try to pop back on tonight. As long as everything's pretty good, as long as things are pretty cool and pretty chill, I may pop back on tonight for another live, just to try again. I'd love to interact with everybody. I would love to interact with those who are on Twitch, those who are taking a look and peeking at my live and all that. I welcome anyone who wants to learn how, especially because this is a sewing circle. So I welcome all who want to learn. I can do a little bit. I can teach a little bit. I love the idea of a community of a sewing circle. It's very hard because there isn't one around here. Not one where I can physically go to or have accessibility, so I'm making this into my sewing circle. That's kind of the reason why I'm doing this. And I give a lot of love and thanks to Prism Live Studio, who is the software that I'm using. And I personally like it. I'm a new user to all of this, so I'm very new and I'm still figuring everything out, and it's kind of easy, which I'm like, okay, this is cool. So someone like me who's like really shitty with technology, to a decent amount, like I can do a decent amount, but otherwise I'm like, oh god, I'm bad. It's actually really user friendly. So, and if you ever have any questions, there's always YouTube Live. That's what I've been looking on YouTube, like on Prism Live Studio. I'm like, how do I do this? And they have a lot of videos on here, so I kind of shout them out too. So, but yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. I'm hoping maybe I can get a little bit more done and just kind of continue on. But otherwise, it's that time for me to go. For those of you who have come and who have joined, I do appreciate it with me working on this project. Any interactions that you guys have, I really hope you do come to the next one. I'm going to try to see if I can get back on tonight, just so that, try again, right? I welcome everyone to my sewing circle. So I am Miss Teal Lizard. Welcome. And